All right, so good morning, everybody. My name is Jesse, and I am with Exploring by the Seat of Your Pants. We are the digital education partner of the Toronto Zoo, and what we do is bring conservation, adventure, and science into classrooms around the world with over 50 live free monthly broadcasts with some of the world's top scientists, explorers, and amazing places. So if you're joining us for the very first time, welcome in. I know we're broadcasting to our YouTube channel and to the Toronto Zoo's Facebook channel today, and as of right now, I can see that this is the largest program in our history as an organization. We have topped astronauts, David Suzuki's, Jane Goodall's of the world. All of you guys are more keen on hearing from the amazing team at the Toronto Zoo for their Zoo Mother's Day event today. So welcome in, everybody. A quick note for everyone. The chat is going to get unwieldy rather quickly. So if you'd like to share questions and have them shared during the broadcast, in addition to our live classes, head to slido.com and use the event code MOTHERS. There you'll be able to share questions, upvote your favorites, and in general take part in an interactive way in today's broadcast. So we are about to dive in. I can't wait to get started. I hope you guys are as keen as I am, and I'm going to turn it over to Mary Ellen at the zoo. She is one of the top environmental educators that we work with as an organization in the entire planet. So you guys are in for a real treat today. Let's dive in. Mary Ellen, thank you so much for joining us today, and take us away.
Hi, everyone. I'm so excited to be with you here today, and I've got a sneak peek behind me right now of some of the animals we're going to be meeting a little bit later on. For our program today, myself and Shawn, we are so excited to talk to you about today the diversity of motherhood in the wild and the diversity of pregnancies. So we're going to throw it over to Shawn first to introduce the Toronto Zoo's newest mother. So Shawn, take it away.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to the Toronto Zoo. Thank you, Mary Ellen. Where I am right now is with one of the species of animals we have here at the zoo, who happens to be one of the newest moms. I'm going to flip my camera over so you can get a view of who I'm talking about right now. Just bear with me a second here. And I am actually not showing you mom. I'm showing you dad, because mom is kind of busy right now taking care of her little cubs, and that is an Amur tiger. This is Vasily, and Vasily's waiting because right behind me right now, the keepers are approaching with a special treat for him, and he's getting ready to receive it. Here it comes. Look at that. So Vasily is an Amur tiger. These are the largest cat species in the world, and they live in northeastern China and in the far east of Russia. So Vasily here is a 9-year-old male, and he was partnered here at the zoo with a 14-year-old, or soon to be 14-year-old female named Maisie. And Maisie came to us from Granby Zoo, where she did have a litter of cubs a few years ago. And so we're happy to say she has become a mom again. About a week ago, on April 30th and May 1st, she gave birth to her second set of cubs here at the zoo. So she's in behind the scenes right now because mom's job is very busy. So she has to focus on her cubs. So we can't be back there with her right now, distracting her too much. But we do have some video footage that we can play so you can get a chance to see Maisie yourself. So go ahead, Jesse, if you want to roll the footage. Damn Your Tigers takes about 3.5 months for a baby to be born. When they're born helpless. So they're blind, they can't see, they can't really fend for themselves whatsoever, and they rely almost entirely on their mom. They have to have their moms around all the time, and mom stays with them the entire time as well. The only time that she leaves them is to go out and hunt to get something to eat and then return. Typically, Amur tigers have anywhere between 2 to 4 cubs each time. And they get about almost a year with their mom before they're able to start fending for themselves. And then it's another year or 2 after that before they really start to establish themselves as adults and move on into the wild on their own, form their own home ranges. So we expect that Maisie will be with her cubs for a little bit longer now, at least for a year. She'll have her cubs with her before they start to, the zoos and zoological institutions start to work together to figure out where the next places that the tigers might be. Here you can see this is with her. She's made a den. So when the tigers are about to give birth, they'll go and find a place to hide. it's safe, warm. It can be protected from the elements like the rain and the wind, and she can raise her cubs alone without having to worry about too much. So she can move them around. You can see tigers and cat species, they all pick their babies up in their mouth. They're not hurting them whatsoever. They're very, very careful with them. And that's just to help them move them and keep them close to mom. Because remember, they can't see. So they are smelling their mom and then listening for their mom's sounds to be able to stay close. And then sometimes mom gets a chance to take a break as well. So those little tiny cubs, they will grow very quickly over the next 2 to 3 years and can get all the way up to adulthood. If they're a male, they can go almost to 600 pounds. So they can go over close to 180, 200 kilograms, making them the largest cat in the world. And they're going to put all that weight on in a matter of about 3-4 years. So right now we're only seeing footage from cameras that were installed in her den. The keepers themselves, they respect her space right now and give her as much of time alone with her cubs as possible. And we try to watch from a distance like this. We want her to be able to care for her cubs on her own with as little distraction as possible. Later on, several weeks from now, we'll probably have their first veterinary checkup, make sure everybody's doing well. And that'll be about the first time that we really start to work with the tigers themselves. All right, so Vasily, he's all the way down here. He's got his box full of meat that he's been gnashing and breaking up while we were watching our video. So since he's kind of hard to see right now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to throw it back over to Mary Ellen now, Jesse. And we've looked at what it's like for a tiger to have babies, but you know, pregnancy and having babies in the wild is a very diverse thing. So I'm going to throw it back to Mary Ellen and see if we can see what other kinds of pregnancies or raising kids look like in the wild.
Fantastic. Well, thank you so much, Shawn. What a neat opportunity to see our tiger live on camera and see that amazing video. Mary Ellen, back to you.
Alrighty, that was really cool to see. Our tigers are absolutely amazing. We're very excited to have them here. We do have another quick video that we're going to bring up right now, as there are so many different babies right now here in the zoo, and the zoo is such a large place. It would take Shawn and I running all over the zoo for way longer than 45 minutes to get to see them all. But don't worry, we've got some amazing footage of them. And let's dive in and compare the difference between Maisie's pregnancy and raising her cubs and some of the other animals here at the zoo and how they take care of their babies.
All right.
That video up for us here.
Just pulling that up, Mary Ellen, right now. It has to be a little finicky, otherwise it wouldn't be a video broadcast. There has to be something go a little bit off the broad.
That's okay. We can do some filler here for it. All good. So what we're going to be looking at in a second, though, is the difference between how animals parentally care for their babies. So first up here, we actually have our lemur leaf frogs. And what you're seeing here, it's a little bit hard to see because they're so tiny. They're actually tadpoles in the water. So all those little black dots with the kind of squiggly tail on them, that's what you're seeing there. Those are our lemur leaf frog tadpoles. Now, frogs are a type of amphibian, and many amphibians and reptiles in the world, their parental strategy is pretty much non-existent. You know, they kind of hope for the best with their babies. They're usually born really tiny and have to fend for themselves. And there's quite a few of them right now in that photo. I don't even know if we could count in the video right now how many tadpoles there are. And there's a few in different sizes, indicating to us that they have hatched at different times. They usually lay their eggs in the water or in a wet or moist area. And that's because the tadpoles and the little froglets spend the first part of their lives in the water. And they do eventually grow older and they start to get rid of their tail. They start to grow their back legs in. We're going to see a quick clip here in a second kind of a medium stage, not quite an adult lemur leaf frog, but not quite a baby as well. I'll be looking at him. And then we also have our final stage of lemur leaf frog in the end. Now to go through, there's our baby. So you can see he's got a tail, but he also has front and back legs still. So he's growing up, he's gonna become a full-size frog. Now to get in between our egg and our full adult stage in their metamorphosis, it takes about 60 to 100 days. So you can imagine that is a pretty quick timeline, but frogs, unlike human, live for a shorter amount of time. They only live for about 5 to 10 years. So animals like that need to be able to mature fast and grow up. Now we saw so many of those baby tadpoles there. Only a small percentage of them are actually going to survive to be the same size as our full grown one here. That's why there's so many born at once. Now, a really exciting birth for us here. Let's see if you can predict what animal this might be next by the photos here first. These are actually some tortoise here at the zoo. These are called spider tortoises, and they're a critically endangered species. So it's very exciting to have them here right now at the zoo. These ones were actually, their eggs were laid in August and in October of last year, and they just hatched in March of this year. So they incubated for a couple months. And while they were incubating, we kept adjusting their temperature. And that's because for a lot of reptiles, they are what's called sex dependent or temperature sex dependent. So the temperature we keep the eggs at actually determines if they're going to be male or female. Now our next little family here, they're pretty cute and probably one of our smallest families as well. These are our rule. They actually live in our Indo-Malaya section of the Toronto Zoo. Now birds are interesting. Our first two animals we just saw were reptiles and amphibians. And I mentioned there's really no parental care. Birds are kind of the middle ground. They'll invest some care into their babies, and they usually have smaller litters. So you can see right there, there's two of them, but then they will grow up and be fledglings on their own and fly away after that and leave their parents. Now the kind of next stage up from that, these are actually our golden lion tamarins. So Mom Claire just had a new baby born on March 29th. So we're very excited. We're going to see the baby, but it's going to be really hard. It's actually on her back right there as she sits in her hammock. So you can kind of see it's just on the top of her. They wear them like a little backpack, and that's to keep babies safe as they kind of parkour through the trees. Now, something that's really cool is they do live in a big family here. So we have mom, dad, and siblings. And what we're seeing now is there's a shared parental care. Mom was wearing the baby on her back, but now she's actually going to switch it over to one of the other individuals in their group together, and that's to give mom a break. You know, growing a baby, nursing the baby, making sure it's safe is a lot of energy invested, and they need to give her a break sometimes. So they'll take turns of who's carrying the baby around, making sure that it stays nice and safe, and they'll bring it back to her for nursing. So this is kind of the next level up that we see in parental care, as the baby will stay, and they try and stay in family groups throughout their life as well. So you can see that was the switch there. The baby's being brought over like a little backpack, and the new tamarin is wearing it. They're checking out, kind of adventuring around, and he's going into their little box to keep safe. Now you might recognize this little creature here. We've done quite a few programs. This is actually Poe and Tori. Now Poe is the smaller one on the left right now, and we're going to see him. This was when he was 10 days old. So he is one of our newer babies here at the zoo as well, and he was born December 1st of 2020. And this walking in the door right now is him from 2 days ago. So he's a couple months old now. He has gotten so brave. But I just wanted to show an update of him because we did a program with Jesse a couple months ago that can be found on the Exploring by the Seat of Your Pants YouTube page as well, where we talked about our baby zebra and our Przewalski horses here at the zoo. So this is Poe now. You can see he's quite a bit bigger. And he's going to stay with mom, Tori. He's also with sister Ray right now as well. So they're hanging out together as their little family grouping, and they're going to be together for a while. And when he gets older, he will go and move to be with his older brother, Obi, and his dad, Luke, as well. Now, you might have kind of noticed a theme there with their names, seeing it was just May 4th the other day as well. Something that's really cool here at the Toronto Zoo is you can actually help us name our babies. So whenever we have a really big baby born, we often put it up to the public to be able to help us vote on the name. So for our baby zebras, they've all been named after Star Wars. So keep an eye on our social medias. There's lots of fun little announcements that we do and games and things like that that you can vote on and help name our babies. All right, so we learned about the diversity. We kind of went from our animals being the least parentally invested to the most or closer to what we do as human beings parentally invested in our babies and offspring. But there's definitely some unusual cases out there in the world as well. So we're going to throw it back to Shawn now, and he's going to show us some of our unusual moms and pregnancies, starting with our marsupials.
Fantastic. Thanks so much, Mary Ellen. Let me turn it back to Shawn and keep this train rolling.
Welcome back, everybody. So I've moved. I was at the Tigers, and I've moved a little bit further down, and I am now standing inside our kangaroo walkthrough. And there's a wallaby there, but what we're looking for is our kangaroos, because one of our females, Tori, currently has a joey in her pouch. So like Mary Ellen said, these are marsupials. Kangaroos are marsupials. Marsupials are animals that are almost exclusively found in Australia. And what makes them so unique is that the females have pouches. And those pouches are used to carry the babies as the babies grow. Now with a kangaroo, they're only pregnant for about 30 days. That's it. When the baby is finally born, it's born about the size of the tip of your pinky finger. That's how big they are. And they have to be able to move from inside the mom up and into the pouch. They have to crawl on the outside by grabbing hold of the fur. So when a baby joey is born, their front legs are pretty well developed and their mouth is pretty well developed, because that's the only two parts that they are really going to use for the next several months, to hold on to things and to be able to drink milk. So here's Tori here, and her joey might stick his or her head out for us to see here if we come in close. So over about 5 months of time, the joey goes from the size of a jelly bean, a little tiny thing, growing to fill up the entire pouch basically with its size. And then it starts to poke its head out, which is the stage that we're at right now with Tori's baby. He or she is starting to poke their head out of the pouch and can actually reach down to the ground like she's doing now and be able to eat grass if it really wants to try, but it's spending most of its time drinking milk inside the pouch. So what's also neat about marsupials like kangaroos is once a joey is born and is in the pouch and is attached and drinking milk, mom can become pregnant again at that point in time. That means that with a kangaroo, it's possible that at any given time, they could have 3 babies on the go at different life stages at the exact same time. So she can have a baby on the outside who's still drinking milk, which her joey's not there yet. She could have a joey inside the pouch who's still drinking milk. And then she could have a newborn baby joey, just the size of a jelly bean, inside the pouch. And what's even crazier is she has the ability to create 2 different types of milk to feed the different joeys at the different life stages. So for a little tiny jelly bean sized joey, she produces a higher fat content milk for them. But for the joeys that are much larger and more independent, there's less fat content in their milk. So she can actually produce 2 different kinds of milk at the exact same time. So she's living with her group over here. There's the rest of the kangaroos all hanging out in the back here as well. And they're very curious because it's not like there's a lot of people who wander through and see them these days. So they're very curious about us. And there's Dad there. That's Simon. He's much larger than the rest of the kangaroos. And we know he's the dad. And here's one of our little wallabies here, which is a cousin of a kangaroo. We'll come back down, see if we can get one last chance to see if the joey sticks its head out for you. Oh, there's a good sign. Real close for you. Here you go. And there she goes. And you can see how the pouch comes in handy for a kangaroo to be able to carry the baby with her when she moves around without having to use her arms to carry the baby. It keeps all 4 of her limbs free to be able to move really quickly if she needs to. So marsupials are unique in the pregnancy and mom world, basically, because they have such a unique way of going about it. But they're a mammal. Our tigers were mammals as well. They had their own version of doing everything. So let's hand it back over to Mary Ellen to take a look at one more animal before we head into our question period.
Awesome. We're back with you, Mary Ellen. Let's check out these big guys. I think our audience is going to know what these guys are offhand without you needing to explain it all, but it's pretty exciting. We're getting a nice view.
Oh yeah, definitely a good view here. So in case you don't know, we have some of or technically our tallest residents here at the zoo, and some of our newest as well, with baby Amani here as well. So these are our Maasai giraffes. The one directly in front of us right now who we're looking at, this is Kiko. He is our male, or our dad giraffe. He's a pretty tall guy. He's coming over to check us out here. To his left, we have our mama. Happy early Mother's Day here, Mastari. And behind, checking out, just making sure the coast is clear. Oh, hello there. Thank you. Hi, buddy. He's like, I want the star here. This is baby Amani. Now, Amani's full name is Amani Innes Dag. And she is actually named after a very incredible woman who loves giraffes and Innes Dag. You should definitely check her out. We're actually doing a program with her. If you check out on the Toronto Zoo website right now, you can be part of a program with her coming up in the near future as well. So we have baby Amani here. And if you recall, if you've been following us through our COVID times, baby Amani was quite a big deal for us as she was born last May, specifically May 12th. So if you're doing your math here, today is May 7th. That means it is Amani's birthday very soon, as she is going to be 1 year old. So happy early birthday here, Amani. We are very excited to be celebrating that with her. And it was a very long awaited arrival. So we've talked about our animals here today and the difference in all their pregnancies. And giraffes here, they can be pregnant for about 15 months. So once we knew that they were pregnant, we had to wait 15 months to meet baby Amani here, and we are so excited that she came. Now, believe it or not, she looked pretty similar to what she looks like now, just a slightly smaller version. And that's because giraffes, as they are a prey species, once they are born, they need to be able to get up and start moving with mom and the herd. They cannot be on the ground for long. They need to be able to move and run. That's because they're especially at risk as babies for any predators like lions and hyenas nearby. So they got to get up on their feet. So she is quite big. I am 6 feet tall as a person, and I am looking up at her as we're standing here right now. So she is about, I'd say probably over 10 feet now. She's 9'11". There we go. We got a full confirmation. So she's growing, and she'll keep growing up until about the age of 5, which is pretty impressive. Now, there's something else before we go to our question and answers, because I know we'll have some great questions about all the animals we've seen today, especially our giraffe family here. We have a very special announcement coming up to Mother's Day weekend, and I encourage everyone to go check out the Toronto Zoo social medias. So it's just at the Toronto Zoo on Facebook, on Instagram. We have a very special family announcement for our giraffes. So head on over there, see if you can figure out what the special news might be for our little family here, or very tall family, I should say. Alrighty, Jesse, we're going to throw it back to you and do some questions now.
Fantastic. Mary Ellen, this is such an amazing moment. You know what? You don't need me on camera. We're going to leave the giraffe on camera. I can talk about that. Live animal interactions, you never know what you're going to get. That's like the most special thing we've had in any of our broadcasts. So what an amazing experience live on camera. Unbelievable. So yes, guys, we are going to dive in with questions. We've got some live groups with us from all over North America. You guys have been amazing on the Slido chat. So again, if you haven't shared questions there, slido.com, the event code MOTHERS. And I want to start with our top question of the day on Slido, which is from Mrs. Snow's class. And we had this a bunch of times. Is there an animal that is the most protective of their baby? We've got people really keen on this, Mary Ellen. Anything that really jumps out as being just the best mom in the animal kingdom?
Ooh, the best mom in the animal kingdom. Well, I have to say, we don't want to single any moms out here, as they are all incredible in any shape or form that they come in. And they all do such a great job because they're helping with their species and keeping their species alive for the next generation. So we appreciate all of them out there. Coming to mind, though, maybe the most protective ones. You know what? That's a really good question. Shawn, can you think of the most protective mother out there?
The best mom in the world is my mom. That's
That is
probably
a
not
good
the
one.
answer you're looking for, though.
I'm gonna have to assume that.
I was going to say, actually, people do, to my knowledge, have the longest period where we care for our young of any animal on this planet. So apes in general are really high up there. A lot of the animals that are the most intelligent species happen to have some of the longest periods where mothers care for their young. So Shawn, your mom might actually be the best mom in the animal kingdom, which is pretty cool. So thank you for sharing that.
Well, when it comes to the non-human variety, though, I will say that orangutans are next in line behind humans for caring for their young the longest period of time. So for an orangutan mom, she'll keep her baby with her, even though her baby's not a baby anymore by this point in time, but sometimes upwards of 8 years.
Wow, very cool. Well, thanks, Shawn. All right,
welcome.
guys, we're going to go to our live classes now. We've got Miss Miles joining us in Johnson City, Tennessee. If you want to come in and share a question with us to kick us off, go for it. Hi, Miss Miles.
Hey, I have some remote learners from at home, and one of their questions is, which of your moms has the most babies at one time?
Okay. That's a good question. So that would probably have to be our amphibians we met. So our lemur leaf frogs. Those animals like amphibians and reptiles, they can lay hundreds of eggs at a time, if not more. So they would be the ones having the most babies at a time.
Very cool. Thanks, Miss Miles, for kicking us off with that. All right, let's go to Miss Rowan's class. They're joining us in Bowmanville, Ontario. Miss Rowan, if you want to unmute your microphone and come on in, you're good to go.
Hi, thanks for having us. My question that I have from my grade 4s is we're curious about how the population at the zoo, the human population at the zoo, has impacted the animals' behavior since COVID has locked us all down.
Great question. We get this all the time, and I'm going to turn it to Shawn. I'll sort of alternate between the two of you as you guys are in both such cool habitats. So Shawn, by all means.
Yeah, no problem. So we have been lucky enough to be able to host many classes, many groups, community organizations, family members, be able to virtually connect with the zoo for almost an entire year now. We got kind of good at it. But that also means at the same time is that the animals here at the zoo haven't really had a lot of interaction with anyone except for myself and Mary Ellen, basically, and their keepers for almost an entire year. So in the beginning, I don't think they really noticed. It was just another day for them. But as time passed by and longer, and there was less visitors and guests coming to see them and witness all the fun that they have every day, they started to notice this as well. And the way I have experienced that is that when myself or Mary Ellen approach, and here's an example, if you can see my screen, we get a lot of curiosity. Here's a kangaroo coming right over to me because it's like, why are you here? What are you doing here? What is this thing in your hand? And how long are you staying? And also, FYI, where are the rest of you people? Why aren't the rest of them coming to visit just like you are? So this curiosity that you're seeing is something that I started to notice. Mary Ellen has also started to notice more frequently these days. And the way that I think of it is, to the animals here at the zoo, we're their reality television. They're always watching us to see what we're going to be doing next. So it's kind of like they're missing their sitcoms or they're missing their dramas every day because there's no one here to watch right back.
I absolutely cannot believe we've had this giraffe and kangaroo moment in one broadcast. It's absolutely amazing. And so fitting that we have the largest audience we've ever had. So there's well over 6,000 of you joining us between the Facebook on Toronto Zoo and our YouTube. So welcome. And you guys have been in for such a treat today. This is so exciting. Miss Camarina's class joining us in Los Angeles, California. If you guys want to come on in and share a question, go for it. Hi, guys.
Hi, so we're on Zoom right now, so thank you for having us. I have two questions from two of my students. Bevins asked, how old can giraffes live? And Andrew asked, how tall is the tallest giraffe on your site?
We'll head back to Mary Ellen to fill that one.
Yeah, good question. So for their lifespan, giraffes can usually live about 20-25 years. That's their average, and it's about similar for being in captivity or in the wild for them. Now, Maasai giraffes here, that's the type we have at the zoo here. They are the world's tallest type of giraffe. They can grow to be about 18 feet, but Kiko here, our male, he is our tallest we have, and he is about just over 16 feet tall. So he's a little bit smaller than they can get at their biggest height, but he's still pretty impressively tall here. And you can see We got Mastari here, our mama, giving us a good show as she's getting her herbivore cubes here.
I wish I had some herbivore cubes before I started this broadcast today. They were delicious. I want to head to Merida in Mexico. We've got a teacher. She's got maybe some tech difficulties, but we're going to try and bring her in for a question if we can. I'll leave our giraffes up while we do that. So if you have a question for us and can share, go for it.
Hi, can you hear me? Yes,
Yeah,
I hear you. Okay, so we have a question. Which animals are the ones that spend less time with their moms when they are born?
Yes, good question. So animals can spend all different amounts of times. Typically, though, we see that animals like amphibians and reptiles and fish spend the least amount of time with their babies. It's kind of they give birth to eggs typically, and they're on their own after that. And we see that mammals and birds are the ones who invest that parental care and time into their babies, and they have fewer babies at a time. So Mastari here only has one baby at a time, i.e. Amani here.
I'm really glad we got that question. It's a nice follow-up to our earlier question about sort of the best mothers in the animal kingdom, is that there's so many different strategies for having young, whether it's thousands and scattering them to the wind, spending all your time on one. They're all equally valid. They're all great ways of sort of raising wildlife. And that's how we end up with all these different amazing creatures on this planet, like our giraffe here, who again is just putting on quite the show. All right, Miss Garner's class, they're joining us live too, but their devices are currently off. So I want to share their questions from the chat bar. They wanted to know, are any other animals currently pregnant? I guess they're keen to name some animals coming up soon. So Shawn, if you want to field this one, are any other things, babies coming at the zoo anytime soon?
Any babies that we know of, and that includes myself, Mary Ellen, we usually find out around the same time you guys find out. So you want to keep watching that social media for any announcements that are coming forward. I do believe that an announcement was made this morning, so you might want to go and check on that as soon as you can. But when it comes to births here at the Toronto Zoo, we rely on something called a species survival plan, which is an agreement between North American zoos that house similar species. And what happens is if an animal is designated as an animal that should be breeding and should be having babies within the institutions, then all of the institutions with those animals work together to figure out who are the ones that are the best to be matched together. So we kind of play matchmaker with mom and dad at the genetic level to do that. So for instance, when we were talking about our tigers, Maisie and Vasily, Vasily actually comes from Calgary Zoo, and Maisie comes from Granby Zoo in Quebec. And it just happened that through their SSP, through their species survival plan, their genetics were analyzed and they worked well together. And so all they needed was a place to put the two tigers in the same space so that they can meet each other. And that so happened to be here at the Toronto Zoo. So you can actually go and look and see all the different types of species that exist here at the zoo now or have in the past, or any of your favorite zoos that you happen to be near you. And you can check out any of the species survival plans that might work with them. Another place that you can do some of that research on your own as well is at the Association of Zoos and Aquariums website, which is aza.org, to get more information on that as well.
I'm so glad we got the chance to bring up both species survival plans and the AZA. One of the things we've gotten a lot of questions of in the chat bar and on Slido is about where you get animals at the zoo. So getting the chance to talk about the fact that zoos are sharing these species, that they have detailed conservation plans and are doing really incredible work to save these species, I think it's really important. And so AZA is the American Association of Zoos and Aquariums. There is the Canadian Association of Zoos and Aquariums as well, world ones, European ones. And what you can do at home is whenever you go to a zoo or aquarium, make sure that they have that certification. It means that it's a facility that's at the highest standard of animal care, of great education, like we've had the chance to experience today. And it's a really important way that you guys can make a difference to help save species just by going to some of these amazing places. All right, Mr. Shattuck's class, they're joining us in Chalk River, Ontario, and they're on our Slido chat. They learned about octopus in their class and the fact that they sort of barricade themselves and they protect their young to the death. Like they save them all the way to the fact that they will actually die at the end of protecting their young. Is that true? And are there other species that do some, examples of that sort of very, very dedicated maternal care? Mary Ellen?
That is incredibly dedicated maternal care. Unfortunately, you don't see that often in the animal world. of parents going to the kind of life or death situation for their babies. And the kind of best way to rationalize it, I guess, is they love their baby, you know, they're caring for them. They want them to grow up. That's their main goal, is to have their baby grow up and reproduce as well. But an adult who has already had a baby is sexually mature enough to have another baby in the future. And if they risk their life to save their baby probably won't survive without them to begin with. And so if they're not there to protect their baby, then both individuals are unfortunately lost. So there's not too many species out there who will go to the life or death for their offspring. They will try as best they can, but in the end, they do tend to save themselves and try again in the future.
Cool
A
question.
little bit more of a sad answer there for us.
It is, but it's an important answer, and I think it's really neat, again, to highlight this diversity of maternal care. So thank you, Mr. Shattuck, for the question. I'm going to take one more from Slido, and then we'll go back to our live group, so keep those questions ready. So Miss Snow's class wants to know, is there an animal that spends the longest in its mother's belly? So I think we all know as people, 9 months is the standard. We talked a little bit about giraffes earlier. Is there a record holder among the mammals?
Among the mammals for sure. We actually, Shawn and I were ready for this question earlier. We double checked our answers. So we believe it is the elephant, and they're pregnant for about 2 years. Mastari here was pregnant for about 15 months with baby Amani. Humans are about 9 months. And one of the shortest ones out there is a possum, who's about 12 days. So there's quite a range for them. And of course, flies and insects, things like that, tend to be significantly shorter as well. But there is quite a range in pregnancy, and that shows up when you see what the baby looks like. 15 months, you know, we came out with a pretty fully formed baby giraffe here, who was able to stand up and walk around basically right after birth, within the hour of being born, versus mice and smaller animals like that, or even humans. We need help to hold our necks up when we're born. We need assistance with that. So the longer the time in the stomach there, in the mom, usually gives us a more fully formed baby. So I'm very distracted right now. If you can't tell, there's
I can tell.
some giraffes right over top of me here.
As one does at the Toronto Zoo. I hope you guys have the chance to bring in so many more people to have experiences like this in the not too distant future. This is wild. Professional detachment out the window. This is just too cool. I want to head back to Miss Miles' class. If you guys have another question for us in Johnson City, come on back in, and you're good to go. Hi, guys. Hey, Miss Miles.
Hey.
Hi. That's okay. Well, you're welcome back for a question if you'd like another one.
Harvey, do you have a question?
Yeah, my question was, how long has the zoo been a thing?
Yeah, how long has the zoo been open and had animals? Perfect question. Thanks, Harvey. So Shawn, we've had this question in the chat a bunch too. How long has the zoo been open? Do you guys have any first creature that you guys brought up when you started?
So the zoo, the Toronto Zoo, has been around since 1974. So we're closing in on our 50th year anniversary very soon. And we have expanded quite considerably to be now the third largest zoo on the North American continent. So at any given time, throughout that time, we've expanded up to roughly 400 species represented here, with within those species about 5,000 individuals that are cared for every single day by our wonderful team of keepers.
Very cool. I've had the privilege and luxury of getting to visit a lot of zoos around the world in my life. It's one of my favorite things to do when I travel. And Toronto Zoo, my home zoo, is still one of the absolute best on this planet. I really hope all our classes today in Ontario get the chance to visit in person. It's a really special place. I think we've got a chance to see that today, more than ever. So I hope you all get the chance to go. And again, in the meantime, I'll bring this up on a banner while we're waiting for our next question. So many banners, so little time. But you can check out more amazing zoo programs at torontozoo.com/zoo2you. They do incredible stuff. I really encourage you guys to watch that. All right, back to Bowmanville. Miss Rowan class, if you guys want to bring in a question, go for it.
Sure, thank you. Some of my students are asking lots and lots of questions. So Naomi wants to know, why are giraffes' tongues purple?
Great question. So we've gotten some great giraffe tongue content today. So it kind of goes back to what they're eating in the wild. So kind of along their backdrop here, you can see we've got some tall trees. They're coming over to say hi again. and they are eating the leaves off of the top of the trees. Now, as you can imagine, they use that long tongue, basically exactly what they're doing right now. They stick it out to grab the leaf off the tree branch and then pull it back into their mouth to eat. And you can actually see there, we got a glimpse, the part of the tongue that's staying, almost got the phone taken right into the mouth there. The part of the tongue that's still in the mouth is actually still pink. So their tongue is kind of bicolored. It does turn pink once it's in their mouth further. But right now, scientists believe that the darker color is to help it not get sunburnt, as it spends so much of its time outside pulling those leaves off. So it's under the hot savanna sun. And we want to make sure that it's not getting sunburnt. That would be very horrible for a giraffe if they weren't able to eat with a sunburnt tongue.
Incidentally, you should have let it take the phone because you would have broken the internet. We've got time for 2 more questions. I'm going to go to Miss Camarina's class in Los Angeles in a minute, and we'll wrap up with our class all the way in Merida before we share some resources to keep the learning going. So Miss Camarina's class, unmute that microphone, and you're good to go.
Okay. Yes. I have a question. We want to know the website where we can vote for animal baby names that you've mentioned on social media.
Awesome. I'll turn it back to Shawn, and I'll bring that up in a banner as well. But Shawn, if you want to share that with us again, go.
Sure, yeah. If you go, you can go to Toronto Zoo has an Instagram page. We have a Facebook page. We have a Twitter page. We even have a TikTok account now, believe it or not. And if you watch any of those social media pages, we do put up announcements of once animals have reached an age where it's time to pick a name out for them. We typically will put it out to our guests to be able to vote on those names and take suggestions for possible names going forward into the future as well. So you'll want to keep an eye out. In the next coming few months, I imagine we'll probably be putting out an announcement about our little tiger cubs. I'm willing to bet.
Awesome. I think you guys should really go dark with some of the zebras. We should have some Sith zebras in the near future. I know we've got some very nice Star Wars characters, but we could mix it up a little bit. We're going to take one more live question. I know we could chat all day long. The YouTube comment section is insane. You guys are so keen on this, and it's awesome. So I really appreciate the enthusiasm. But let's head back to Merida. And Mary Ellen, if you guys want to join us with one more question in Merida, just unmute that microphone, and you are good to go. Hi, all the way in Mexico.
Hi, yeah, sure. I know that, well, monkeys are similar to us humans. So how is the whole motherhood process with them? With monkeys?
Yeah, so kind of the similarities or differences between us and them. They are quite similar. They're usually pregnant. If you think of like a gorilla, for example, gorillas are pregnant for about 8 months, but the babies are a little bit better at kind of being alive at that time at birth, I guess I'll say. They get worn by their mom like a backpack. So just like the golden lion tamarin I showed in the quick video, the mom will wear the baby like a backpack on her back or on her chest for a couple days to make sure that the baby is safe, can stay with her. But it's a very similar process to humans of, it is a mammal. So they're getting a live birth. They are fed milk. And kind of as they start to mature, they're interested in what mom's eating, and they kind of do a split time where they're eating some hard solid foods and they're also still nursing. For gorillas, though, as well, if they are female, the moms and babies will often stay together in the same troop for a longer period of time. Whereas for a lot of species out there, if it is a male baby or offspring, the males will go off on their own to find a new grouping of females to call their new family and start their family with. So it's similar to ours, as the parents take care of us, and at a certain age, we kind of grow up, leave the nest, and start a life and a family of our own.
Mary Ellen, this is fantastic. Thank you so much for such detailed information, such amazing animal interaction. Shawn as well with our kangaroos. What I want to do before the end of the broadcast is just bring up a few ways that you at home, whether you're on the Facebook channel, the YouTube channel, or tuning into this after the fact, can do to learn even more. So do check out the amazing Toronto Zoo website, torontozoo.com. Tons of amazing resources there. And then, of course, if you want to check out the virtual programs, torontozoo.com/zoo2you. If you want to see some of our 30+ broadcasts with the zoo at Exploring by the Seat of Your Pants, check out the Exploring by the Seat of Your Pants YouTube channel. They're all there forever. Any kind of animal you can imagine, we have probably done a program on it with the Toronto Zoo, and our website generally is at exploringbytheseat.com. Before we wrap up and do a farewell message with the zoo, I just want to highlight 2 other programs that we have on the go. One is our Backyard Bio Initiative. So all month of May long, we are encouraging kids all over the world to get out and share pictures of the local wildlife near them with #BackyardBio on social media and through other ways, including connecting with classes around the world to share and revel in local biodiversity. So you can check all of that out at backyardbio.net. And then in just 2 weekends, we are launching our Global Biodiversity Festival, 150 programs in 3 days with conservation organizations around the world, all to raise money for their incredible work in saving species and habitats. So if you guys want to check that out and register, go to globalbiofest.com and see all that we have to offer. All right, with that, I want to bring back Mary Ellen and Shawn, offer them both a chance to say a farewell message to us before we bring in our classes to say a big thank you and goodbye. So Mary Ellen and Shawn, thank you so much, guys. This has been such a special program today. Is there any last message that either or both of you want to share with all our kids, 6,000+ people across the continent, to leave with about the zoo and all the work that you guys are doing?
I'll just say thank you so much, everybody, for tuning in. Be sure to check out all of the videos we've done with Jessie on the Exploring by the Seat of Your Pants YouTube page. Come check us out at Zoo2You, and we'd love having you. Happy Mother's Day weekend, everyone.
Yes, happy Mother's Day weekend to everyone. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. And if you want something to laugh at, you can always go back a year ago and watch how not good at this me and Mary Ellen used to be.
Our first program ever was with the giraffes. It's basically a year to the day. It was the most watched video we've ever had, but it's the most sketchy tech we've ever had. So we have improved radically on our video broadcasting chops. I love the giraffe over your shoulder. It's amazing. Thank you guys so much. Happy Mother's Day to all our mothers out there, especially Shawn's the greatest mother in the entire world.
Yes.
With that, I'll bring in our classes, Miss Smiles, Miss Rowan, Miss Camarena, and our teachers in Mexico, and say a big thank you and goodbye, farewell.